You are producing more than you have ever produced in your life. More emails, more reports, more code, more content, more ideas, more slides. And yet something feels wrong. You are working harder than ever, and you cannot explain why you feel less valuable, not more. That feeling is not in your head, it is the first symptom of a trap that is quietly swallowing the careers of millions of ambitious, hardworking people. And the strangest part is, the trap was built by the very tool that was supposed to set you free. Here is what you were told. AI will handle the busy work. AI will save you hours every week. AI will make you 10 times more productive, and that will make you 10 times more valuable. Sounds logical, right? Knowing, deliberate, wrong. That logic contains a hidden assumption that almost nobody questions. The assumption is this, that producing more output automatically creates more value. It does not. And once you see why, you will never look at your AI tools the same way again. For your entire life, you were trained to believe that hard work equals results, that the person who produces the most wins. This was programmed into you from the first day of school. More homework, better grades. More hours at the office, faster promotion. More output, more value. It was a simple equation, and for decades it worked. But that equation was designed for a world where production was expensive, where writing a report took a full day, where creating a design took weeks, where producing anything at all was the hard part. In that world, the person who could produce the most truly was the most valuable, because production itself was the bottleneck. Then, matter of fact, AI just removed that bottleneck, permanently. Direct citing data. In February of 2026, researchers at UC Berkeley published an 8-month study in the Harvard Business Review. They embedded themselves inside a technology company and observed what actually happens when an entire workforce adopts AI tools. The finding was not what anyone expected. Measured slightly incredulous workers' time, it intensified their work. The researchers identified 3 specific patterns. First, task expansion. Workers started doing work that previously belonged to other departments. Designers began coding. Researchers started engineering. Because AI made it possible, it became expected. Second, the boundaries between work and life dissolved. Employees started sending prompts during lunch, before meetings, late at night. AI turned every free moment into a potential work moment. And third, multitasking exploded. Workers ran multiple AI processes simultaneously, creating cognitive overload while feeling like they were being productive. The employees in the study reported something revealing. They said they felt, quote, more productive but not less busy. One engineer put it plainly, you just work the same amount, or even more. As Cal Newport, the computer science professor at Georgetown, explained, you cannot run a profitable company just off of email, meetings, and PowerPoints. Ultimately, someone has to create something valuable using their brain, and that requires deep work. And when experienced programmers used AI to help with that deep work, the result was the opposite of what everyone expected.
But you can't run a profitable company just off of email, meetings, and PowerPoints. Ultimately, someone has to actually create something valuable using their brain, and that requires deep work. So in this study, we had programmers doing deep work who used AI to help them, and they thought that would make their deep work more productive, but in reality, it made things worse.
Thoughtful. Building First Acquires, a separate study by Boston Consulting Group, surveyed nearly 1,500 workers and discovered a phenomenon they called AI brain fry. 14% of AI-using workers reported severe mental fatigue from constant AI interaction. And the consequences were not just emotional. Workers experiencing brain fry made 39% more major errors. They reported 33% more decision fatigue. And here is the number that should alarm every manager reading this. Their intent to quit rose by 39%. And it is not just individuals. In the same month, Fortune reported on a survey of 6,000 CEOs across the United States, the United Kingdom, Germany, and Australia. 90% of them reported that AI had produced zero measurable impact on productivity or employment over the previous 3 years. Zero, despite a collective investment of over $250 billion. The Nobel Prize-winning economist Robert Solow once observed, "You can see the computer age everywhere but in the productivity statistics." That was 1987. Nearly 40 years later, we are living the exact same paradox. You can see AI everywhere, except in the results. Direct empowering. So here is the belief you need to unlearn. Producing more is not the same as creating more value. In fact, in 2026, it might be the opposite. When everyone has access to the same AI tools, the ability to produce 10 times more output is not a competitive advantage. It is the baseline. It is the minimum. It is the table stakes that everyone meets before the real game begins. Building passionate. Think about it this way. If every person in your industry can now produce at the same speed and volume you can, then your output is commoditized. The value has shifted. And it has shifted to something that no AI tool can generate for you. Judgment, taste, the ability to decide what is worth producing in the first place. Here is the reprogramming. The people who will thrive are not the ones who produce the most. They are the ones who produce the least unnecessary work. They are the ones who can look at a problem and know which questions to ask before typing a single prompt. They are the ones who use AI to eliminate noise, not to generate more of it. The real skill in 2026 is not prompt engineering, it is question engineering. Not asking AI to do more, but knowing what to ask it to do at all. An MIT economist, Daron Acemoglu, who won the Nobel Prize in 2024, has been making this exact argument. He says AI is an information technology, a very powerful one. It is not an automation technology.
An information technology. A very powerful information technology. It's not an automation technology. AI is not thinking anywhere like the human brain. Instead, it has some truly impressive capabilities that the human brain doesn't have, and it lacks some of the judgmental and creativity-related capabilities.
Acemoglu projects that AI will increase GDP by only 1.1 to 1.6% over the next decade. Not because AI is not powerful, but because we are pointing it in the wrong direction. We are using it to produce more when we should be using it to think better. So what does this mean for you, specifically? It means stop measuring yourself by output. Stop bragging about how many emails you sent, how many reports you generated, how many hours you spent prompting. Start measuring yourself by impact, by the decisions you made that no AI could have made for you, by the problems you chose not to solve, because you recognize they did not matter. Practical empowering. Here is one concrete shift you can make today. Before you open any AI tool, write down the one question you are trying to answer. Not the task, the question. Because the person who asks the right question will always outperform the person who generates the most answers. The productivity trap is seductive because it feels like progress. You are busy. You are producing. The numbers are going up. But numbers without direction are noise. And in a world drowning in AI-generated noise, the scarcest resource is not productivity. It is purpose, knowing what matters, and having the courage to ignore everything else. You were not built to be a faster hamster on a fancier wheel. You were built to decide where the wheel should go. The old programming said, produce more, win more. The new programming says, think deeper, matter more. AI gave everyone the ability to do more, but the people who will lead are the ones who learn to do less better. That is the unlearning. Reprogram yourself.